Hey yo YouTube, I'm here to continue talking about the D&D Band of Titans. Where we last off, we were getting prepared to go fight a red dragon. Um, in between sessions, I asked my DM if how plane shift work, if in the situation we were now, if Smite would be able to use plane shift. Like he looked it up, and also like here he was like, yeah, you would also be able to take 7 people with you. So at the beginning of this session, I say that Smite announces to the party that he could head back to the manor and take 7 people with him. He approaches Maravik and asks her if the Temp Brotherhood of Knowledge, if they would like to send someone specific to chronicleize this. And pretty much she says that she's planning on doing it herself, but she might want to get to them just to like check in. And when Smite says he's headed back, he words it, or I word it, as he's headed back for upgrades. So whenever we ask Craven, like, does he head back? Like, Craven's like, no, I don't need no upgrades. But then, like, the DM's like, it doesn't have to be upgrades. It could be anything. And then, Craven's players like, yeah, I guess I do need I should check up on stuff. And we kind of calculate how long we've been gone, which I guess is like 5 days. Uh, Inviting Craven back was a mistake. Anytime Craven's at Titan Manor, he just sucks up gameplay. Like, I really need to remember this. Uh, so we go back to Titan Manor. Smite goes to Mio, the Grey Dwarf, and Anadarko, the Goblin. Which, if I've never talked about this, they're like exceptional forgers, and there's only rare ones in the world, and like they're able to like forge magical weapons in like one day. And a few sessions ago, I talked to the DM about getting stone on my eye patch put in with Constitution. So I say that I go check on that, and then also I asked them if, because like I got again, this is something I don't think I ever talked about, is that uh, um, One Eyes of Groomsh, their weapon is a double-headed battle axe, but since Smite is a hobgoblin, uh, he has a double-headed mace, and I ended up putting smiting on it, or smite on it, the Mace of Smite. And pretty much I asked the DM if, or I asked Anadarko if I could get it respected into just straight out plus five with frost damage. And they say like usually it'll take a day, but since the situation, they're able to do it in 12 hours. Uh, After that, Smite ends up going to get a report from Chevy and Gideon because they were on the scouting mission. Didn't roleplay it at all. I just said I go talk to him. Uh, One thing I forgot to mention was that we ended up bringing one of the hags with us, so she could like gather the hags in this world and do what our Jezzy Baba came with us, so she could do what we talked about, where she would gather the hags in this world and join the council that Smite's building. Uh, but whenever I offer to do Plain Chef, I tell them that Hellfire wants to stay back, but if need be, she could come and she will be able to actually take more because she also has Gate. Uh, uh, and we played shift and we're like 100 and something miles away from our destination, and I'm like, shit, I think we should have took Hellfire because Hellfire's the one with teleport. Uh, and then like we asked like if Jezzy Baba could do it, and then I guess she does. And I know Maravik approaches Smite, uh, and tells them that she's been telling the Brotherhood of Knowledge what's been going on, and she's been presenting it as potentially a new kingdom, and they want to send someone to categorize it, and like they kind of ask like if they want it to be humanoid and how much privilege would the person get, or what course they want to go through. And Smite ends up saying he doesn't want a humanoid, and pretty much he wants the same privileges as any other kingdom. And then Smite goes down to the temple that's being built for grooms, and pretty much he asks the constructors uh, what would have to what we have to do if we wanted to reconstructure it to have the top have a dragon eye on it, and like he pretty much says we'll have to do like a spell to make sure it doesn't rot, and like do we want to make it do something magical, like kind of says like do we want it to be like alive, and he's like yeah I do kind of want it to be alive. And he's like, well, we don't have to get Anadarko in it. And I kind of tell the DM, like, Anadarko's already kind of in this project. Uh, and in between this, we're switching to Craven. And Craven does a few things that, because, like, for the most part, the things that Smite's doing is still with story. And then Craven started, like I said, to a point, Craven does a few things like that. But typical, like checking on his guard, stuff like that. But the player always has a need to role play a little bit too much, or like I said, like I skipped the Chevy stuff. But like at one point he starts going on this how he wants to get all the females gifts, so he starts like looking up earrings and stuff, and I'm like, dude, we're about to fight a red dragon. Why are you worrying about buying people earrings? And like he does end up cashing in like our loot. And like when he's calculating that, we end up getting like a lot of loot. We end up getting like 80,000. Like my uh, Smite and or Hellfire and Hyde, like there's gold doubled. Like Smite's tripled since he just bought the eye patch and had to respec. And Craven is talking to I think Leanne, which truth be told, I haven't fully figured out who Leanne is. I think Leanne might be the person that Kraven's always trying to win. But he's talking to her and he's telling her what the mission is, and they end up saying something about the witch we're looking for, and he's like, yeah, we found her. And she's like, you found the witch? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, the witch that y'all been looking for. And he'll say, yeah, she's Jezzy Baba. No, I think he even actually says we brought her back with us. And he's like, she's Jezzy Baba. He's like, Jezzy Baba is the witch. And and Craven has a feeling he doesn't know exactly what's going on. So like the player asks asks a question like that's right, right? Or he says something and like the DM's like, so you don't remember anything that happened last week. Um this time though, 100% it wasn't him not paying attention. It was him forgetting, which is way more forgivable. Because like at one point in last session, he was the one who was like, "So if the no one finds the wish, we're just fine." And then that's when Smite's like, "We gotta find it before they find it." But the DM goes over the story again, and he says a few things that I'm pretty sure I didn't either catch or remember, and it didn't really make last video. So like the crystal, the witch board that she has with the crystals. The reason why they were important is because they showed her because the teleporter in nowhere they had to get through uh, had like a broken panel, and the witch board showed her what the the combination she had to press to open it up. So again, one of the keys to getting the hidden god's avatar or champion out of nowhere uh, is is to get this combination. Also, I guess if they could get the memory of someone who has it, or get the memory out of her. And when Craven's players calculate all the stuff, I tell the DM I go approach them already, because like I said, I suspect I'm already the witch. And I ask her what are her first memories, and or go over it again with me. And she starts saying how she woke up in a cave, or she says she became aware in a cave. She says all she really had with her was some kind of knife. Mervik ends up finding her. Um, and they end up like getting hunted by something that Maravik calls his Edgar suits. And pretty much, already describes the main villain in Men in Black, where he's like wearing the skin, and she says that's how these creatures look like. Like it looked like they were like wearing human skin, so they called them Edgar suits. And I guess the Edgar suits killed a lot of people but them. And this is when she started realizing she could foresee stuff, like she knew the way out. And the satchel that apparently Maravik always wears came off of an Edgar suit, and Eridina, for some reason, was compelled to tell her to take it. And they end up going through a vortex. Uh, they're in an old town, and I guess some automobiles show up. A red one that's a Plymouth Fury, and a white one that's a Tornado. And they go into some underworld and end up fighting a fiend, and that's where they met Craven. And she mentions the battle where they met McCory, the orc that's always guarding them. Uh, and she says that the battle was all wrong. Apparently, McCory was dominated. Uh, I think they were told to not kill him, so they ended up just knocking him out. Like she kind of says, like one on one, McCory could have took all of them, but they ganged up on him. And then I guess whenever he was asleep or knocked out, she snuck in and like touched him, and that ended up awaking and freeing him from his dominance. And something about the Astrolanders took over the Daglins. The Daglins are the ones I keep saying that are the Irish people that run the pub. And like I end up asking her, like, does the name Ophelia ring a bell to her? And she starts thinking about it. She's like, I think Ophelia was supposed to be there, or was one of the things that was supposed to be there. And pretty much she starts talking about how it was all wrong again. And the way she describes it this time, I realized that she's talking about alternate worlds, like because the first time, because like I said, whenever she said it, she said the hag, the psychic vampire, the few other things. I thought the psychic vampire was the person Craven killed or Naomi killed, and I thought the hag was the type 3 that was in the van, which we found, like the lady that was in the van, which ended up being a type 3 or type 1 vampire. But listening to it this time, like I said, I realized like it wasn't something changed or done wrong. It was an alternate world, and like I worded somehow like that to Aradina or Armoretti, and Armoretti starts thinking about it. She's kind of like, I think she says she kind of came to that conclusion after she met Johan, because started putting things together, because Johan was from an alternate world. And like Smite asked, like, if one of the things that felt wrong was the year, like was there like a 5 years difference? And she starts thinking, she's like, you know what? She's like, I think, yeah. She's like, I think you're right. She's like, how did you know that? And Smite says, like, we were just in Mistra, where most things were the same except for that was like 5 years. The Battle of Fort Scorpion or Fort Tar. And I don't think anything important gets said in that conversation. Uh, Still think if she isn't the witch, she's obviously met the witch. Uh, but so we gather whenever we head back to the Witch Kingdom. Immediately, Smite cast Hero's Feast, and he asked Lockhart if maybe he could keep the eyes, and Lockhart's the eyes of the dragon. He goes back to that conversation, like says like Craven asked for the head and was denied that. What about the eyes? And he starts saying like that's not really our. He doesn't see anything wrong with that. And then Craven's like, can I keep a claw? Like I want a whole claw. And he's kind of like, yeah, that's more likable than the head. And Smite goes back to the eye thing, and he says like he would prefer the right, and he's like, you only want one of them. And I was like, well, initially I was planning on splitting the eye, and Craven took that as like us cutting the eye. I was like, no, like one eye going to me, one eye going to you, and then like it gets dropped. But Smite goes through all the buffs he's planning on doing. Uh, I looked it up. I looked up. I planned it planned out all week, and like most of it was useless because I didn't realize that like if you have a belt of strength, you can't do bear's endurance because your belt of strength is stronger than bear's endurance, and it cancels it out. Same thing with bull strength, or yeah, bear's endurance and bull strength. And then I also did bless, but then either Rasputin or one of his priests ended up doing bless and prayer spell on all of us. So, so like it didn't matter anyways whether I did it or not. But the ones that do get through is Shield of Faith +3 to AC and absorb absorb energy fire. And at my level, it's 30 points every time you hit with fire. Uh, I know the first time Craven went to town, he got a bunch of healing potions, and Hellfire has a fire shield, which I guess absorbs all fire as a spell. Yeah, which is good because she's vulnerable to fire. So we finally, and it's funny because last week we didn't fight the dragon because it was like 2 in the morning, and so we're like, should we push it off to next week? And uh, And then this week comes around, and like I said, I go to Titan Manor. And between the stuff I did and the stuff Craven does, we don't get to the dragon until 2 in the morning. But I guess last week we went and had time to prepare. Um, so 2 in the morning, we decide to uh, go our 2 in the morning gameplay time. Uh, we have her set up the thing. We go through. DM sets up a map. We're in like this cave, this big red cave, and like we hear a voice like laughing, and it's like, like it's been long since heroes have attempted to come in here, something to that point. And he asks who's like bold enough to come in here and face us. And for a second, I thought Craven was gonna be like, "It's the Band of Titans," uh, but then because like Craven's in the front, and then he like asks Lockhart to come up, and Lockhart announces himself. I think he even says he's a Dragon Lord. And the DM puts Dragon up on the map and tells us to roll initiative. So let's old school DSP this and check it out. So the party starts off in this area here, and take a look at initiative. Looks like Lockhart won, Seville, Armor Ready, Maravik, the Dragon, Father Keaton. All mines were all 14s, which I thought was funny. Smite, Hellfire, Basker, Naomi, and then looks like Craven's last. I want to say that Lockhart holds the first, or at this, yeah, on the first round. He holds till more people go down. Uh, uh, I want to say Seville does her Eldritch Blast. Uh, Armor Ready has like a Gatling gun thing that she uses. Maravik starts singing a song, and then the dragon hits us with the breath weapon. I believe it's like 120-ish. I know my character only ends up taking 8 between the hero's feast and with temporary hit points and the absorb energy. I want to say Father Keenan ends up healing everyone to full on his turn with one of his big spells. Uh, Hellfire, I I asked the DM what's the ruling because like she has a crushing hand, which is pretty much like Bigby's hand, and I pretty much asked him can the hands do what the lower level hands could also do? Like, can crushing hand do what a closed fist can? And we take a while looking it up. Pretty much, I want this because I know that if I try to grab the dragon, he's gonna break it. So I'm asking if I could punch him. Uh, After a while, we come to it. After a long while, we're really looking through this. Uh, But eventually it does come to the conclusion that he can only grasp, he can't punch. Uh, Although Craven's players seem pretty impressed by this build, like under someone else, it's gonna wreck them. But yeah, like he uses it twice, or she uses it twice on him, and yeah, both times he never's able to grab him. Basker runs in with a single attack. Naomi does her missile. I believe Craven also runs in with the single attack. If Lockhart didn't at the start, I think he does now, or did before this. Smite on his round, he ran halfway and cast Righteous Might. That's why he's large. Uh, I remember, like, I guess the DM thought that Smite was casting Crushing Hand because he was like Hellfire. I was like, that was Hellfire. And then he was like, what did Smite do? And I was like, walked halfway and did Righteous Might, which he knew he heard me do the first time, say the first time. But restarted the round. Pretty much everyone now starts doing their full attacks. When we get to the dragon now, he hits like a series of us with claws and whips and I guess a bite. Or not whips, but tail. Fairly hard, but nothing that these high level characters couldn't handle. Like, I want to say all of them were like 30 something, 40 something. Like, I don't think anything got up to 50 or 60. Uh, Smite does a full attack. Hellfire this time. Like I looked through my spells, I looked through my 6 level spells because those are the spells I can maximize up into 9. Because to maximize something, they have to go up 3 spellcaster levels. And so I'm looking at it and I see Freezing Spear because Hellfire specializes in cold magic. Like all of her spells are kind of supposed to have like a cold or freezing steam theme. So like I didn't try it, but I think if I would have did Fireball on on this dragon, it would have hurt it because technically it wouldn't have been a fireball; it would have been like a freezing ball or something. Uh, but I maximized freezing spear. Uh, I at first I thought the DM said it failed, but then the DM asked, "Is that damage with?" Because like it does like 120 maximized. Uh, the DM asked, like, "Is that with invulnerability added?" And I'm like, "I didn't know it had invulnerability." And when I thought about it later, that means Smite should have did more damage with his weapon because he also has frost on it. Uh, and with the vulnerability, like the DM tells me, like it ended up taking like 200 and something. And the DM's like, "Oh, it looks hurt now." Uh, then it goes to Basker. Basker does a full attack. Truth be told, I kind of wish, well, not really. Uh, but Basker does a full attack, and then Naomi does a full attack after that. And I knew once when Naomi was up, I was like, Naomi's gonna kill it. And sure enough, Naomi ends up doing over 100 hit points, gets the kill, does do the how you want to do this. She says like one of the Sakura's like splits runs down the dragon's mouth, and that's where the DM ends up closing shop. Says he'll do treasure or whatever tomorrow or next session. Because again, we started at like 2 in the morning. Uh, but in my opinion, we stopped the dragon. Like it was only like 2 rounds. Like Smite only attacked once. Truth be told, I was disappointed Naomi got the kill. I don't know. Uh, a mixture of her being a cohort, like her not really being the one that needs that under her belt. She has so much already. But future predictions, I don't know what treasure the DM's gonna give us. I know Craven's player already mentioned like for it to just be more than gold, and I'm like, the DM's been doing this a long time. You don't have to tell him that. Kind of thinking about asking if lock, because like before this, one of the questions might ask were cobalts down here, and they said yes. So like, let's go around out some cobalts and get them to bend the knee to Lockhart. But you want to see what we get and what's to come, check out the next video. You want to know this whole story of my campaign, watch all the videos, and check you later.